There are countless tiny rivers in this land, and even more bridges have crossed them. As we're passing one such insignificant bridge, my path was blocked by the carriage of a traveling merchant.
My good man, you look like a person of fine taste. Are you interested in partaking in a small experiment?
Sure, why not?
I'm looking for someone brave enough to try my latest dish. What say you?
I'm not going to turn down an invitation for free food. Let me have a taste. I agree to personally sample the dish. The food tastes amazing, but I can't quite identify the ingredients. The merchant seems pleased as punch as I continue on my way. However, soon after I reached the next bridge, I began to feel a terrible stomachache. Did he poison me? Was it just bad food? Distinction seems to be lost on my suffering digestive system. As we're marching through a labyrinth of passes crossing numerous hills and forests, I couldn't help but feel like I'm being watched. The question is, by whom? Alright people, something's up. Let's slow down and set some traps, just in case. Caution rarely turns out to be a mistake. My progress slows as I carefully set up traps and signals on my path. I spend quite a bit of regular salvage on this, but soon enough my shadow reveals itself. A nasty snap and crunch, accompanied by a painful scream, announces that one of my traps has been sprung. A war cry rises from the wilderness as a group of formidable Gallic warriors charge my position. It sure looks like my traps have softened them up a bit, though.
Must have hurt.
This is the last one! Bit slow and steady, people!
I can't fight anymore. My family needs me.
men are awaiting your orders. Our legion has engaged the enemy. The weather has changed for the worse. Battle is won! Instanti hostibus! Eos persequimini!
An old bridge spanned a narrow valley and was suspended above a rather deep but suitably narrow river. The wood on the bridge looked rotten. It didn't exactly seem safe, but the valley is quite long. Circumventing it would cost us a lot of time. Let's not push our luck. We'll find another path around. For sure we're in a hurry, but that doesn't justify recklessness. We decide to take the long way around the valley. It takes a while, and we have to stop to eat on the way. But at least my people are safe and sound.
By Tyrannus, how did they get behind our lines?
Let's see if you can get through my shield. Hold up! Let's teach them ourselves. We will defend this area.
A glorious battle against a worthy opponent. They fought like angry lions.
More of my warriors are on the way. You are surrounded, Romans.
Lurko is not coming. We've been betrayed. Let's get out of here.
That slippery bastard. I shall punch his smug, traitorous face next time I see him. If we survive.
Forest and Gallia are dark and damp. Droplets of water constantly formed on our armor, even when it wasn't raining. The low mist obscured the ground beneath our feet. Our slow progress is interrupted by angry grumbling. We squint, trying to make out what's moving through the mist. For a moment, all is silent. Then, without warning, a sounder of boars charged us. It doesn't look like they're interested in civilized conversation. Brace yourselves, we will not give ground to a herd of beasts! My veteran companions immediately formed a defensive line and prepared to repel the charge of angry boars. Something must have driven the animals into a frenzy, for they are relentless, but after a while their assault does waver. Ennius Quarto, in particular, is left battered and bruised by the onslaught. Just as we think it's over, the boars gather again and get ready for another charge. Hang in there! We will not let these creatures defeat us! We grit our teeth and bear it. The finest legionary of Rome shall not be defeated by a spiteful sounder of swine. Over and over, the angry animals charged our Praetorians. Many are wounded, but in the end, we stand triumphant. At least the dinner will be plentiful and delicious.
Good evening.
Salve, Domine. Need something?
Well, that was a disaster.
At least we have Orgatorix.
True, but what good is that now?
You never know when we'll need something to bargain with.
We stripped him of his armor when we brought him in. Here, Negate.
So Vitellius Lurko was marked by his absence. Any theories?
Our scouts report no sign of Legio Ferrata. I knew we should not have trusted him.
He is the consul of Rome. What choice did we have?
He is the consul of Rome, and that is the reason why we should not have trusted him.
Supplies, Caeso. How does it look?
Dumnorix and Divitiacus have sent the supplies they promised. It's not much, but at this point anything is better than nothing, I'd say. Either way, this will be the most difficult campaign we'll ever face.
Was Divitiacus in on this? Is he working for Lurko?
Who knows? As a rule of thumb, I don't trust people who claim they can talk to gods.
And you trust everyone else.
I didn't say that.
Let us not think about our losses, and we do not need Vitellius Lurko. Let's draw up some plans and start gaining some ground. Keep an eye out for Legio Ferrata, though. An entire legion cannot simply vanish.
Indeed. We did fine without him in Africa.
Right. Let's get to work, people.
You will not be able to hold me prisoner. They say Orgetorix is like the hawk, born free and proud. In captivity I shall die.
You were planning to attack us. Why?
You have marched into my lands with thousands of soldiers. I hope to strike preemptively.
Dumnorix decided to help us. Why couldn't you do the same?
Dumnorix never wanted to talk to you. The hate he has for your murderous kind is without equal. Your only trade is death, Roman. No one in the lands you call Gallia will help you.
Is Vercingetorix's plan to act as our ally and then backstab us?
Vercingetorix is strong, but too trusting. I think you should be put down like the dog you are. Sadly, that was not meant to be. Keep this in mind, warmonger. When Vercingetorix wants you dead, you will die. He commands all of the tribes.
Divitiacus told us about your plans.
He did? That is unexpected. The wisdom of the gods flows through the druids. His ways are mysterious.
Did you attack my villa and kill my mother?
Absurd! Like all Romans, you have the tongue of a snake. Lies and venom is all you can spew. If you truly were attacked, I salute the warrior who sought to end your line.
Whether you live or your line ends is up to me now, Fallen King. You'd better get used to it.
Away, Legate.
Which formation shall we use? Our legion has engaged the enemy. Again! The weather is changing for the worse. We are victorious! Instantly hostibus! Eos persequimini!
What is that, Bestia?
This is Monster, my Discipulus.
You've been carrying around a kitten.
For now, but she will grow up and I will train her.
We cannot look after a cat during combat.
Monster is no ordinary cat. She needs no care. She only needs training. When she's ready, she will be free to leave.
Salve, Domine.
Salve, Domine.
We need some lumber for our arrows, but the local population seems to disagree. They say the grove we're trying to cut down is haunted, and that they will protect the trees with their lives.
What is it with druids and trees?
The ways of the gods are not for us to judge. Gallic gods are barbaric, just like their people. If it's trees they want to worship, I say let them.
They're protecting a haunted grove. That sounds counterintuitive.
They think by protecting the grove, they're also protecting us from unleashing terrible spirits of vengeance.
Did they tell you what would happen if we actually cut down the trees?
That much is not clear. A druid was talking about evil spirits trapped in trees, but it wasn't particularly coherent.
Perhaps that means our arrows will be imbued with evil spirits.
I hadn't thought of it that way. That sounds dangerously useful.
We need arrows. Cut down the trees.
Right after we cut down everyone who stands in our way. Our way, Legate.
Legate!
Do you have a moment, please? I have come all the way from Africa to talk to you. Awe, my name is Sabinia. I have traveled very far to meet you. Very, very far.
You must have come very far indeed. Tell me how I can help you, Sabinia.
Thank you. It's been an arduous journey, and I was afraid I would just be turned away upon arrival. My father's name is Sabinius Ursinus. He was once the praefectus of a Roman legion. He said he met you during your conquest of Egypt, and he spoke highly of you.
I do remember old Orsinius. He came to our camp to sell drawings of a banner in order to fund his retirement.
That's right. The denarii you gave him got our family through some very difficult times. But my father needs you again. He served Rome for 30 years. Now he is sick, maybe dying, and Rome will not come to his aid. I wouldn't come here to beg. He gave me something to sell to you again. A new design for a better banner. If you'll purchase it from me, it will pay for his transport to Rome and his treatment there.
What affliction ails your father?
A terrible cough racks his lungs. He can barely breathe and has been bedridden for months. I must return to him soon, or I fear it's too late.
Your father's banner has served us well. In what way is this better?
This is a banner that honors Jupiter. It will inspire your men in a different way, no doubt, to defend themselves courageously and give no ground.
I will give you 1,000 denarii for these plans. For this money, you can have your father transported to Olympus, get him treated by Apollo Medicus himself.
Thank you, Legate. With this, I can buy a fast horse that will carry me home in time to save him. Here, the schematics he gave me. He told me your smith will be able to use these to forge an idol worthy of Jupiter. I hope this banner will help you as much as you have helped my family.
Awe Legate, what strange and impractical weapon do you want me to forge today?
I have come into possession of these schematics for a new Legion standard honoring Jupiter. I need a figurehead for it.
Let me see. These are detailed schematics. If I just follow them well enough, I'm sure I can create what you need. Why don't you lend me a hand? Your hands are not too soft to hold a pair of tongs, are they? Come, let's get to work. Well done. Your fine patrician upbringing did not leave you entirely devoid of practical skills. If your wine harvest ever fails, you can always come work with me in the smithy. It's an interesting design. Quite the impressive idol, if you ask me. It'll be a good banner for sure.
I'm not even remotely surprised those Landikai left us to hang.
The only question in my mind is whether it was maliciousness or sheer incompetence that made them betray us.
What? You think they got the time for the attack wrong? You think they got lost on their way there?
You've met some of them. I would definitely not put it past them to get lost so badly they end up in Hispania.
A contubernum of lightly armed equities caught up to me as my party stopped to rest beside the road. They were dressed in the colors of the Consular Legion. Their deaconess handed me a missive closed with the Witelli's family seal.
It fills me with joy to find you alive, Legate. I have been following your impressive progress carefully. You have proven yourself beyond measure to be a capable commander. We shall meet in the land of Eburones to discuss further strategy. Meet me at the appointed place as soon as you are able. Vibius Vitellius Lurco.
So now he wants to meet, after running with his tail tucked between his legs.
He wasn't running away. He simply wanted to allow Orgetorix to slaughter us.
Let us go and tell him what we think about that.
Two Gallic hunters astride a single horse met me on the road. They stopped a cautious distance away, and one of them shouted to me that they bring a message from Antiochus. The other recited the message to me in verbatim.
By the will of Tutatis, it has been made known to us that we will meet once again to discuss a matter of utmost importance. A certain time from now, we will meet at your camp. You will be there, and so shall we be.
Well, where else would we be but our camp? Their pretentious and useless message delivered, the hunters turned their horse and galloped away.
We are ready to deploy the Legion. Battle is joined. How shall we proceed? The enemy is deploying their tactical reserves. Instante hostibus! Eos persequimini!
Awe, Legate. The druid Antiochus requests an audience. He awaits you in your tent.
Awe, Legate.
Honestly, this guy creeps me out a bit.
It doesn't matter. We will respect him as long as he's our ally.
Perhaps you are right. Nevertheless, he still makes me feel uneasy.
You'll have to live with it, Caeso. Diplomacy leaves little room for personal feelings.
I just can't bring myself to trust him.
I have no reason to mistrust him. So far, he's only helped us.
That may simply be because it was in his best interest up until now. Let's see if that's still the case.
So it came to pass that you arrived.
That is very perceptive of you.
Perception is of Tutatis. Your coming was foretold.
You do remember calling for us, don't you?
You were not summoned. You were simply given a glimpse of what will come to pass. Dumnorix is shadowing your every step. It has been made known to us that he will attack you at a moment you least expect.
How do you know this?
It has been made known to us.
When will he attack?
That is not known to him yet. He will want to consult the gods.
Where will he ambush us?
The place is for the gods to determine. Thus, he will ask them.
Why are you telling me this?
It is unclear yet. Dumnorix will fight, for he is a fighter. We will know, for we are a knower. It is not for the Aedui to fight. You will stop Dumnorix.
To stop him, I will need to ambush him myself.
That you can do. as long as you know where he will be. He will feel the need to know the outcome of his intended attack. Our brother will, therefore, come to the high place. There, he will ask 3 questions to the 3 deaths, and wait for the answers. You will be the answer, if Tutatis wills it. You will meet us at the high place soon. For this boon, the 3 deaths will require your presence and sacrifice.
What sacrifice?
I knew it. There's a catch.
We will be at the high place to instruct you.
Need something?
I finished that equipment you requested. Turned out all right, if I do say so myself. You can collect it right over here.
At your service. Need something?
The terrain had been mainly rocky for some time, with sparse vegetation and difficult winding paths. Nevertheless, the sightlines were clear and weather good, so I'd been making good progress. Cineros had been at the rear today, but now rode up to me and asked for my attention. A pair of riders were approaching quickly from behind and below. I stopped my column and made quick preparations while waiting for them to catch up, but 2 riders shouldn't pose any danger to our group. Indeed, the riders turned out to be explorators from Legio Weetrix. They have come to warn us that they spotted a Gallic army marching towards Central Celtica. We should expect an attack within a day or 2 at most. Central Celtica is already well defended by the Legion garrison there. Hopefully my preparations will help my Lig and Inari maintain control of the region.
Do you wish to deploy? Our ranks have reached the enemy lines. The enemy is deploying their tactical reserves. Expilate quia maxima. How should we position the troops? Good. The men are close enough to engage. The enemy is deploying their tactical reserves. Good. We are victorious! Instati hostibus! Eos persequimini!
A cool breeze rushed through our hair and the joints of our armor as we're walking through a grove made of trees that we could not readily identify. Soon we arrived at a clearing. The trees surrounding this place were marked with peculiar paint. This looks like one of the sacred groves the druids were talking about.
These old trees, they've grown thick and strong. Would be valuable lumber worth taking.
It seems like a good place for a break. Take a moment to sit and rest your feet. A secluded grove represents a nice opportunity for a short break. After posting a few sentries, we may camp and relax. The water flowing through this area seems to have some healing properties. Either that, or our improved mood is deceiving us. When we were finally ready to move on, everyone felt like their resolve was renewed. Deep in the mountainous landscape, there were unexpected hazards for the unaware. Today, however, we were pleasantly surprised by a magnificent waterfall above a crystal clear lake full of fish. It looked unreal and very inviting. I thought I could see something glimmering behind the thick curtain of water, but it flowed far too fast and strong, and I'm in no mood to injure myself trying to take a bath. The waters are as refreshing as they look. Everyone felt rejuvenated. It's clear to see that the overall mood had improved immensely.
Magister, what is art?
A very simple question with an easy answer. It is once again all about knowing causes. An ordinary man makes memories. They merely witness things. A master craftsman turns memories into experience, for he knows how a thing works, but not why. An artist knows why a thing works, and therefore can apply his knowledge to all situations.
When you witness one death, you have a memory of death. When you witness many deaths, you have an experience of death. Only when you know why you are witnessing death can you be a true warrior. In that case, am I an artist?
Perhaps you
At your service.
Salve, Domine.
With Lurko waiting on us, I finally had a good reason to sit back and take the time to recover. It would be poor manners to appear so ill in front of the consul.
How should we position the troops? Battle is joined. How should we protect it? The enemy is deploying their tactical reserves. Instante hostibus! Eos persequimini!
Legate, I am at your service as always.
Let's see what resources we have.
The men are awaiting your orders. Good. We are ready to engage the enemy. And the enemy equites are charging our formation. Get! We are victorious! Comiatus promovete!
Fog rose from the forest floor and set between the trees. I left the dense and silent woods after several hours of making my way along an animal trail and came out into a secluded river valley. The path ahead of us vanished into the mist, which covered the meadow like a blanket. As I followed the vanishing path into the valley, I began to notice flickering reflections penetrating the tall grass and wildflowers. Metal, swords, spearheads, and armor. The earth is littered with detritus of a terrible battle. Dismount and search the area. We may find something of value. My Praetorians quickly dismount, eager to stretch their legs and satisfy their curiosities. They spread out across the meadow, poking with their feet, turning corpses with their weapons, and ducking into the grass to rummage. There are many Roman corpses here, and even more Gallic. From the colors and emblems, we identified the aftermath of a melee between a cohort from Legio Ferrata and a large group of Arweni warriors. It's impossible to tell who won. The men appear to have died several days ago, and the first few corpses I searched have been picked clean already. If I were to invest some more time, perhaps we could find something the scavengers missed, but it's a gamble. Set up a perimeter and prepare the rations. Looks like we'll be here for a while. It takes many hours to search the field of the dead, including a short break to rest and eat along the way. The grim task weighing heavily upon our minds, my people sat and ate in silence before getting back to work. When they have covered what appears to be most of the battlefield, we regrouped by the horses and laid out the items we salvaged. My Praetorians seem to take some satisfaction knowing that the Roman equipment, at least, will not fall into enemy hands, and there are several potentially useful items of Gallic equipment among the hull as well. I've set up camp for the night on a small rocky plateau above a trickling forest stream. Kalida has shot a buck, and some of my Praetorians are preparing a feast of veal fit for a consul, while a few others are preserving the leftovers. The Ido was interrupted by a minor commotion from the outskirts. Deanira was escorting an unarmed Gallic warrior into the camp. "Don't worry, you have nothing to fear from us. Tell us why you're here." The Gaul bowed deeply before me and held out a pouch of coin. Tribute, I am made to understand, a peace offering of sorts. I estimated something in the range of 50 to 100 denarii. Keep it. You have more need of it than I. The warrior grumbled a little more before explaining that he sought the great general of the Roman legion. He wishes to desert from his army and join the Roman legions instead. Deserters are not uncommon in war, and many Gallic tribes have traditionally had fine relationships with Rome. More importantly, a deserter could provide valuable information about the tactics and movements of Gallic armies. Cineros offers the Gaul a hand to help him to his feet, then led him over to a secluded corner of the camp to offer him a flask of water as they sat down to talk. During dinner, Cineros returned to grab some veal for his new friend and report in. It seems Cineros had already learned much about the sentiments among the Gallic warriors. Of particular interest is the fact that the Gallic leadership is plagued by infighting and indecision. As my Praetorians and I discussed the details, a potential strategy began to form for how this might be exploited. If the Legion were to dig in at a tactically advantageous position during battle, but leave the supply lines unprotected, the impatience and bickering among the Gauls would certainly lead them to split their forces, attempting to cut off the supplies in order to starve my legion. Such a ruse could be exploited with a swift counterattack using the equities. Risky tactic, perhaps, but if it worked, it would be devastating to my enemy. I gave the warrior a signed and sealed letter explaining his situation and instructions for how to reach Legio Beatrix. Then I sent him on his way with my best wishes. It's been slow going today, making my way through dense forests, trudging through long stretches of deep mud, or circumnavigating unexpected ridges and overgrown paths. All the more reason for my Praetorians to feel relieved when I finally exit into an open stretch of rural land surrounding a small village. The locals welcomed me with surprising friendliness. They had submitted to Roman rule and clearly found it best to cooperate, as much as they are able so as not to invite the wrath of their new overlords. An elder approached with some trepidation, warning that he bears bad news. While searching the house of a man who had stolen from his neighbors, they recently found evidence that he was an agent for Vercingetorix, and that an army of Arverni is gathering to attack Aquitania, aiming to free it from Roman rule. The attack is scheduled to take place in a few days, so I do have time to prepare. The Praetorians and I huddled together to discuss our options. Alphanes Pyrrha appears to be confident that he can beat one Gaul in hand-to-hand combat, so with no further ado, he mounted up and rode out of the village to go and make the challenge. I knew that Aquitania was currently unprotected, thus I garrisoned a legion to defend it. None of my preparations would matter. Today, rain had poured down constantly, and I have had to listen to my put-upon Praetorians complaining about how the sky is torn apart, and how it seems it never stopped raining. Gradually, though, the rain does cease to make way for the sun and a nice rainbow if we were lucky. While my Praetorians stopped to rest, I wandered off on my own to scout the area and perhaps forage it a little. With each step, my feet sank deeper and deeper into the fresh mud until the mud suddenly refused to let go of my legs. Realization dawned upon me as I cursed my luck. Just walked into quicksand. The more I struggled, the more I was pulled into the mud. I shouted for help, but my Praetorians were too far to hear. Stripping out of my gear and trying to reach that tree could be a solution. But just as I was thinking about this, two Gauls appeared out of nowhere, a man and a woman. The woman pointed at me and laughed. She spoke in a language I did not understand, but I gather she's asking a question to the young man. The man shrugged and nodded. Then, using gestures and fragments of broken Latin, he offers help. They can pull me out, but they want payment. There's no time to lose. I quickly indicate with both gestures and language that I accept their offer. The odd couple nod and disappear for a short while. Just as I begin to worry they might never return, they come back carrying a couple of sturdy ropes. They pulled me out of the quicksand easily enough. When everyone's clear, the man walked up to me and held out his hand, palm open. The gesture is unmistakable. They saved my life and all of my equipment. It is only fair that I honor my deal. As my denarii changes hands, the mysterious saviors smile and nod. Then they quickly disappear into the woods.
The men are awaiting your orders. Kunz, our legion has engaged the enemy. The weather is changing for the worse. This is it! Their will to fight is broken! Expilati quaam maxima!